them is becoming a monster, whose soul is now darkened with blood stains. Turn back from the hands of evil, don't give in to the devil. Try and understand the joy of life, for he who knows all knows your secret, and is in time he will reveal it. For every deed there is a price. Learn to live this life and live it nice, so nice. Whatever the situation, just a temporary state. God is great all the time, all the time God is great. Joy will meet you at your doorstep, just sing along as you wait. God is great all the time God is great. Nothing is impossible. God is great all the time God is great. God is great all the time God is great.
So let me grab the opportunity right now to say have a fantastic day. On Dependency is up next. And then, well, you know it goes on I-95 with the all-inclusive family show coming up at 2. So take good care of yourselves and enjoy your lunch. Gosh, I borrowed that, but enjoy your lunch.
Turn back from the hands of evil, don't give in to the devil. Try and understand the joy of life, for he who knows all knows your secret, and is in time he will reveal it. For every deed there is a price. Learn to live this life and live it nice, so nice. Whatever the situation, just a temporary state. God is great all the time God is great. Joy will meet you at your doorstep, just sing along as you wait. God is great all the time God is great. Nothing is impossible as long as you have the faith. God is great all the time God is great. Let love be the light you carry, remember it's not too late. God is great all the time God is great. God is great all the time God is great. A little louder. God is great all the time, a little harder. God is great. Some people hate the life they live in. Happiness only comes through dreams. Illusion seems to have them breathing, not knowing what true happiness means. Poverty carries a spirit. Think positive and believe it. Surely it's the way to overcome. Every man has the will and power. It is a gift from the Creator. From the very day that He was born, giving us the strength to carry on and on and on. Whatever the situation, just a temporary state. God slipping into darkness. Power is all they're thinking of. It is a token of their weakness, trying to get others involved. Disasters strike the planet, plagues are falling upon it, diseases spreading throughout this world. Yet mankind refused to be conscious, knowing this life in total chaos. We have this feeling that we own this world, forgetting who really in control. Oh yes, whatever the situation, just a temporary state. God is great all the time, God is great. Joy will meet you at your doorstep, just sing along as you wait. God is great all the time, God is great. Nothing is impossible.
Ion Dependency with Garth and Natasha.
Reality radio, at its best, where every life is a biography.
Join us this Sunday, June 1st, for episode 22 of Ion Dependency, where every life is a biography.
In its 24 years of existence, Ion Dependency has never encountered such a mind-blowing story.
After
Ion
my mom gave birth to
Dependency
me,
with Garth and Natasha.
Reality radio, at its best, where every life is a biography.
Sundays at 10 a.m. and exclusively on I95.5 FM.
And streamed live on the Ion Dependency Facebook page and YouTube channel.
Good morning, Trinidad and Tobago. You're locked in to Ion Dependency, live on 95.5 FM and streaming worldwide on YouTube and Facebook. I'm Garth.
And I'm Natasha. Thank you so much for joining us. Last week, many of you remember, we met Daniel, who's here in studio with us. Daniel is a man who has survived abandonment, prison, and a lot of pain, but his story does not end there.
Today we go deeper. We talk about what it's really like to grow up as an orphan in a society that looks the other way. No guidance, no protection, and worst of all, being haunted by those who prey on the vulnerable.
This is not fiction. This is happening right here and right now. Daniel has lived it, and he's here to help us understand what needs to change.
Daniel recounts orphanhood, early exploitation, and lack of protection. For those of you who are listening, if you can't wake that child up, you need to listen and pass this message on. This is very serious. I've always said that there are mistakes and choices, wrong choices. Some of us try to mix up the two, but there's a definition, a definite demarcation between mistakes and wrong choices. Daniel did not choose to be an orphan. That was thrust on him. And we still hope and pray that his mom would show up one day for him. And Daniel, thank you for joining us again, Daniel. Welcome.
Morning, God, morning, Natasha, and thanks for having me again.
You are, as I was saying to Natasha, you are different. You're a different young man. We've never met anyone like you before. And when you should be bitter and hateful, you just trudging your way through, hoping that you'll be fully accepted in society again and be treated as someone. And you have a lot to offer. And, just to touch back a bit, you were born at hospital, your mom left you there, and from there you were taken to St. Mary's home.
Correct, yeah.
And you had what a experience you had there at St. Mary's Home. And we are happy to tell the folks listening to us that Miss Pastor reached out and hooked up with you. How did that feel speaking with her?
It feel like a sense of rejuvenation, a sense of hope, because she was the same one that they kicked out because of trying to help us through our trials and tribulations at the home, and they just saw it fit and kicked out. So to me to hook back up with her now, it was like a longing sense of just meeting back someone that truly cared about our well-being. Then.
Did you cry speaking with her?
Yeah, when she messaged me, I was like, who is this? And then I watched the profile picture and I say, I put OMG as in, oh my God, this is Miss O. And then I broke down and I called and she said, don't call yet, I will call you. And when she called back, that was it. I broke down and then she told me, don't worry, everything will be okay. And she started to talk to me from there then.
And to remind those who may not have heard last week's program, Eastland Orr was one of the adults in Daniel's life who tried to intervene, and not just for Daniel, but for others who were living at the home at the time, tried to intervene with the authorities to ensure that the children were safe and were being protected. And after many years, at least a decade and a half, since he last interacted with her, she did reach out after hearing last week's program, and they reconnected.
She was one of the maybe the only responsible adult who stood for the children of St. Mary's Home.
Yeah.
And I will always
and spoke out about it as well. And
she
received a backlash.
And what does that say about us people?
Yeah.
I don't know. And wow, it's really. This is almost like movie, and your life is going to be a movie, Daniel. I am telling you that, from a book to a movie, because this is something you see in movies, children people under duress in a certain space, and somebody shows up now with the intention of freeing them, and just as she's about to do that, she's snatched, or the person is snatched and taken away from them, and all hope fades again.
Yes.
It's really, really mind-blowing that we have people like this existing in our space. It blows my mind. But they are part of God's green earth. They've been put here for a purpose, and this is where your purpose has driven you.
True. No, I wanted to just ask as well, if you, just like how you made this reconnection with Eastland, or have you reconnected with any of your fellow residents at St. Mary's?
As we speak, one person, I don't know how coincident it was, but he followed me on TikTok, he followed me on Facebook, etc. And right now he's live on TikTok also. His name is Amrit.
Okay.
Yeah, he was in the home with me, and he was in same dormitory setting, went through same things that I've went through, similar. Just he reached a bong. Yeah, he reached a bong, and he faced similar stuff to me. Right. Physical abuse.
Sexual abuse.
Yeah. Okay. He faced it. Wow. And he left from there and gone to a disabled home. But I don't know what caused it. Look, what caused it. He was listening to the last interview because I shared it on my TikTok page, and he messaged me and said, Daniel, keep it up. And he is younger than me. And when he told me that, it brought tears to my eye to know that I reached him. Yeah, it brought tears to my eye in front of me.
Wow.
Who is this? I stepped out from
Amrit. Apparently, he's a disabled young man who shared a dormitory with Daniel and followed the story, followed him on TikTok, saw the live the show last week, and reached out to him.
So a disabled young man was abused as well?
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, you telling me? How many of you out there listening to this can actually not feeling sick to your stomach, knowing that a place that should protect, and I am so happy to hear the new government speak to this issue. And I really, really hope to God that they would finally do something about people like those and do whatever it has to do within the limit of the law to let people like those know that when vulnerable people are in your care, it is not your right or your role or even the privilege that you would take to harm them, it is not yours. Okay? And I'm so a disabled person. It's infuriating.
It really is.
You know, it's infuriating. And these are some of the people who will tell you about God. And when they're in assembly, or they will tell you about God. But when you go to the same people for protection, they will turn a blind eye. What God you know? Or which God do you serve? Will tolerate that kind of behavior. I hope karma gets to you as fast as possible. Wow. But we thank Pastor, or I try not to, I don't know, I can't help myself, and I try not to get emotional speaking about these issues, but I know what it is to be vulnerable and with no one to look out for me. So Daniel, you survived it too. Thank God for that. But you had a 3 months at the maximum security prison. How did that happen?
Well, when I left YTC, as I said, the last program we had, when I left YTC, I was homeless and, started to catch myself, look for little jobs and stuff, and started to work in a security company and renting at the same time. And at that point in time, my phone did crack now while I was working. So I went up on Facebook on the security company laptop, and I saw a phone in Marketplace. Organize, meet up this person on Marketplace to meet in Port of Spain, purchase the phone, function in the phone. 2 weeks after, I don't know how, but it happened. I was arrested for larceny and accepting stolen articles.
Oh.
So you didn't know the phone was
stolen? Oh, my.
Yeah. So that is what made me end up in maximum security prison for the 3 months.
What was the experience? How old were you then?
I am 27. I was about 24, 23, somewhere around there.
So what the procedure? You were arrested, taken to...
I was taken to the Port of Spain CID, that's in the back of the parliament there.
Central.
Yeah, I was taken to there. They do the thing, the fingerprint, they charged me for accepting stolen articles and larceny, and then about the third day I was placed before Port of Spain Magistrate Fourth Court. And from there, straight sentence, no bail, no nothing. Just straight flight MSP for 3 months, hardly back.
If I could interject, God, you don't find us harsh? Seeing that...
Where's the law?
I know it is, but prison for an offense like that seems unreasonably harsh. Also, given the fact that this would have been your first offense, right?
First criminal offense as an adult, I should say.
Yes, correct. Because you were placed in YTC for being out of control.
Beyond control.
Beyond control, or whatever that is. So this is his first offense, quote unquote, as an adult. How you send him straight to prison? Yes. You don't know his background, his history. How does that factor into the sentencing? I mean, I guess it seems...
Did you have a lawyer?
Well, one was appointed a legal aid, and that was the worst, I'm being honest.
So the person didn't take you through, let's look for mitigating circumstances.
They was not fighting on my behalf. I would say a legal aid is to fight with the justice system then.
It's as harsh as it is, Natasha, is the law, receiving stolen articles. It can be harsh, especially for someone at that age. He could have gotten probation or time community service.
Correct.
Or go to a school and
correct.
Teach, that kind of thing. But remember, we have not, and back then, we did not see life like that.
Having a criminal record as well for someone in his position.
So that means if you go for a police certificate of good character now, it will be a dirty one.
Exactly.
Yeah. And that is where the problem came in for employment.
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
You don't understand the gravity of what is going to happen down the line with these things. But how did you feel as someone who has gone through? I mean, you've been in prison. YTC at that point is a prison. Let's call it what it is. And having to go to a big man jail now. What was going through your mind?
Well, when I reached there, it was like it was like hell descend on me then. Yeah, I saw hell on earth. That's the best place or best way to explain it. Prison is hell on earth. And before I start to share what it is I experienced, that's the best I could say. Prison is hell on earth. If you want to see how hell is in prison. My experience there was a tough one per se. Going in for the first day among seasoned criminals, that ring a bell for me. Just by driving in the compound in MSP with those tall walls and those barbed wire fence roller by those walls, I started to feel like a pain in my heart going in on that compound. And I watching these walls and these buildings, these fellas walking in these uniform, and I started to cry before the bus could even pull up to the dispatch unit, which is called reception, right? When the bus reached reception, I can remember this like yesterday. When the bus reached reception, now going up on the bus, you're shackled down. Mr. God, go no. You're shackled down, hand and foot. You can't move in the bus. Right? So when the officers came and started to take up that shackle, I started to cry. One of the prison officers saw me crying, coming out of the bus, and say, "You're a big girl, what are you crying for?" Well, me now studying, what should I do? If to continue crying, or if to just shake it off? Well, me just naturally I continue crying. Going in reception, this part is what make me cry more, and like I almost faint away on my first instance. The searching part. Yeah, I don't want to go down too much into that.
The strip naked and squat and cough and all of that.
Yeah, the searching part where you strip you naked and you're squatting and you're coughing and you're naked as you're born in front of males only. That was like a, how to put it, that was like a breaking point for me per se. And the reason why I say breaking point is because what I have experienced in the past in the orphan home. Right? So that was like a kind of breaking point, a kind of trigger for me doing that in front of men. That was not me. Right? I was trembling, taking off my clothes. The officer asking me if I had something in my body. Because he thought I was, what you call it, I was scared, I was frightened then. You know, he telling me I'm moving nervous, like if I had something in my body. I said, no, sir, I'm just not accustomed to this. Searchers thing, time to walk up to the cells, because in MSP is not no dormitory. I will repeat this, in MSP is different than YTC. YTC have dormitories, MSP is a 4x4 cell, where as you lean forward, you could boot the front wall, right? First, the cell is so cramped, right? And that cell is, I will get there, right? We walking up to the cell, the corridors, just approaching these cells is like a nightmare, because you walking down a corridor, right? Cells on both sides, and you hearing men bawling, fresh meat, fresh meat. You as a first timer walking in that prison hearing fresh meat, you going and start a panic, I'm telling you all. Right? You just walking and hearing fresh meat, right? And officers at that point, I don't know if it changed, but at that point in time, officers then used to place you in any cell. It's inmates placing you in cell, right? So when you walk down on the corridor and let me just say, if some guys in a cell see you as a young fella and you looking nice and you know, them were you in that cell, I'm telling the orderly, let's call them, to put you in that cell, you know. It have nothing like where you want to go or where you safe, you know. So I was placed in a cell with a lot of weird persons, a lot of weird guys, per se, where every night was an uncomfortable night until I came up with a strategic plan, right? But just the first night in the cell, I didn't sleep. If you all like comfort, stop do crime. First to begin, right? Especially the young men. Because in prison, the cells, you have no washroom facility, no toilet, no running water. Right? That is just one. You're in a cell with about 15 to 16 other big, hardback, grown, seasoned criminals, I would say. Right? Some lock up for murder, etc., rape, kidnapping, shooting, you name it. You are amongst them. Right? And I was sent in there for accepting stolen articles and was placed with these set of people. Right? So it's nothing like you're going in prison and you will go to one division for that particular crime or that. No. You mix with everybody and you had to defend yourself in that particular time. So I was placed in a cell with seasoned criminals, raper men, I would say, shooters, killers, you name it, right? And it was 11 of us in that cell. My first day there, I didn't sleep. Second day, I didn't sleep. Third day, I came up with a plan and I asked to see the infirmary because what I started to see in the cell late at night, guys with guys, y'all, it's crazy, right? And I just don't want to say too much about it to try and trigger anything, but it's crazy, right? And I have been witnessing a lot of things in the night where I started to feel suicidal, I should say, I'll say it real. You know, I started to feel real depressed. I started to feel like ending it because I run from a situation from a childhood life to come and experience it raw and straw in my face every night. So it was just like a rock on a hill just waiting to roll along to crash into somebody. Yeah, because as I say, I run from it in the home and I end up in it full blown, seeing it every night. And I was like, Daniel, what can you do? And I just came up with a plan. Now, I never went in prison with no ailments at all. I was well. And I started to get depression. I got a depression diagnosis in jail. I got some other few things that they diagnosed me with in prison. But what made me, how to put it? What made me do this is because I couldn't cope with what is I've been seeing every night. Now, what I did is that on my 4th day in prison, I asked to go to the infirmary, right? And when I went to the infirmary, I told the infirmary officer that I suffer with seizure. Now, mind you, I do not suffer with seizure, right? But I told the infirmary that I suffer with seizures. So they will have that record that I suffer with seizures because I couldn't make any cell. I had to find some other way to go. Because asking the orderlies to move here, that ain't going to work out. Right, so I ended up asking the infirmary for Dilantin, they just call it for seizures. They started to treat my Dilantin. Every time they give me the Dilantin, I'll put it in my mouth, wait until I reach outside and just spit it out. So they'll know that I've taken it. Right, and after a while, I started to fake seizures in my cell just to be removed from my cell to a safer environment then. Because at one point in time, I would just say one scenario, I ended up with 3 scenarios in the cell, but it was so disturbing that I don't have the courage right now to share it, but I'll just share this one scenario. At night I was sleeping, and which part I was sleeping, I had to sleep on the ground because I was the last person to be placed in the cell, right? Don't matter how bad it is out there, don't matter what you're doing, don't matter what crime you're doing, it have a space on the ground for you. I was placed on the ground, and at night I was sleeping. I was placed between 2 bunkers then. Sleeping at night, I just started to feel like somebody or something is interfering with my pants. So I deepen my sleep, not really deepen my sleep, but I sleeping, right? And I feeling like my pants tingling. So I thought it was some kind of rat or cockroach or something. So I just kind of shake my foot and kind of shake it off. And while shaking it off, I felt a hand right on my foot. So by I felt the hand now, I get up, I pull my sheet over, take off my sheet over from my head. And I started to watch around the place dark, not knowing a guy under my bed, and like he was literally, in raw terms, feeling me up in my sleep then. And when I experienced this, I immediately get up, run to the gate and started to shake the gate. Officer, 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 officer. Bawling, officer, 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 officer. About 3 to 4, 5 minutes after, 2 officers came to the cell. I reported it to the officers. Boss, this man touching me in my sleep. I'm uncomfortable. I want to move. Please, I want to move. I want to move. I want to move. The officers told me, son, welcome. You have to stay there. I was like, sir, I cannot stay here. I want to move. That night, I just couldn't take it, and I ended up taking the same sheet in front of the officers. And this is why they say I'm crazy. I ended up taking the same sheet in front of them, climb up on the bars itself and tie it up. And I told them if they don't get me out of the cell tonight, they will meet a dead person in the morning. Because of what I've experienced and the frightenness that, just the fear that I felt within, like I feel I was going to get raped, I feel like I was going to get buggered. I feel like if everybody in the cell was just going to team up on me at that point in time to just end it all. So that was just a fight and flight at the moment, and I just did something that that I didn't want it to do, but I had to do something to get a response from the officers at that point in time then. So I took the sheet I tied over my neck and I literally went off. I ain't gonna lie, I went off. And when I went off, the officers cracked the gate, they lift me up and they cut it down. When they cut it down, they shackled me down tight, strap and all kind of thing and carry me to the infirmary. And from that day, I was housed in the infirmary. Now, the infirmary in MSP, I should say, is a little more better than the cell part because it's where sick people is, you know, but
Daniel, not to cut you, but I want to just stick a pin here and talk a little bit about how prison is segregated, or not segregated, as the case might be. You were charged with a non-violent offense, yet you're being placed in a cell with violent criminals.
If you're just joining us, you're listening to Dependency. You're listening to Daniel telling another side of his story. We're going to take a break. And when we return, he'll answer that question for you. And he's speaking there, and I'm hearing or seeing my first night at Port of Spain prison. Almost the same thing. This guy just repeating my life in front of me here right now. It's surreal. God is my witness. Let's go to a break. We'll be back.
Yes, girl. Online here with this weirdo named Larry. I'm getting rid of him now. Let's take a selfie. It looking good, boy. I putting it online.
Hey, I thought you say you went to the beach with your parents.
Who's you?
It's me, Larry, from online.
Hola, my name is Elena. Well, it's actually not my real name. You don't really care, do you? All you care about is once you pay your money to my boss that I look pretty, smell nice, smile for you, and let you have good time, enjoying yourself and doing to me whatever you want to do for the money you paid. What you don't see or know is that I don't get any part of the money you paid. My boss takes all of it. I am forced to work, taking as many clients as my boss tells me to. I am beaten, made to take drugs, and I cannot leave this kind of work on my own. I am a victim of human trafficking. Please, por favor, help me.
Join us this Sunday, June 1st, for episode 22 of Dependency, where every life is a biography.
In its 24 years of existence, Dependency has never encountered such a mind-blowing story.
after my mom gave birth to me, she abandoned me.
He had to fight off those he trusted.
The gentleman came in the bus, locked the door, and asked me to do.
Life on the run was even worse.
Sleeping at night, I was just bodily picked up and was being towed away. I was kidnapped.
This Sunday, Garth and Natasha sit with Daniel once again. He has a lot more to share.
My name is Daniel, and this is my story.
Listen live from 10 a.m. on I-95.5 FM or watch live on the on Dependency Facebook page or YouTube channel. The Counter-Trafficking Unit, Ministry of Homeland Security brings you on Dependency. We don't just share stories, we change lives.
Thank you for staying with us. You're listening to Dependency, and we have Daniel in studio with us recounting his time at MSP. And like I said, the first night in prison was the same feeling. It can mess with your mind. You can go through a sort of mental deprivation. Also, there's a term for it, but you lose, from the time it gets dark, you lose all sense of time. And I was near to the gate. I stayed near to the gate. It had 8 other guys in the cell with me. But how did that affect you, that first night, and not knowing when morning going to come?
It's a mental, I will say it is a mental thing, because as you and all said, you're in a cell whole day, 23 hours, 1 hour outside, right? 24 hours make a day, inside 23 hours of the day, right? You have no sunlight. The only light in your face is the light in the cell or outside the cell, a big white light, right? Other than that, your cell dark, so the only light is from outside coming into your cell, right? And you have no watch, you have no phone, you have no TV. If somebody in your cell have a phone, you're very fortunate to have one around you, to at least hear a time if somebody asks where is the time, right? And just by going through your day without seeing sunlight or without seeing the night sky, that is a mental disturbance. It had it on me and all, and I would say it is a mental thing, because if you don't have a strong mindset to just hold on, you're going to lose your right head just by that simple thing.
Let me stop you for a second. For those of you who are listening, try and understand why we're doing this program. This is not a complaint on our prison system or penal institution or police or anything. This is a deterrent. This is what we're doing here, prevention. So, like I said, if you cannot wake that child up to listen to Daniel this morning, you can go to our page and replay it for them to hear. The ones who not listening to you, and the bad boys and the wannabe bad boys and the bad girls who think that they're bad. Daniel will explain that to you this morning. Go ahead, Daniel.
Yeah, Mr. Gat, I was saying, right, well, Ms. Natasha asked a question before we went to the break, what it is like to live amongst persons who committed different crimes. And as I say in the beginning, it's just like hell on earth, right? Because you amongst persons who society has cast away, right? They did the crime, so that's why they're in prison. They allegedly kill, shoot, rob, whatever the case may be, and you living with them knowing that you went in there for that minor offense, as in accepting stolen items or whatever the case may be. That for me had that break my heart in a way, because when I was going into prison, I always thought that, I would have been amongst persons who commit my crime or pettier. Yeah, I was going to be amongst them. And when I was placed amongst seasoned criminals, I was like, wow, I just have to have my head on and hold my composure and hold my corner.
Yep. No, that's something that unfortunately I have no control over. But
we were discussing this off air, and maybe we can raise this for the new minister to probably consider, because one of his plans is to transform the correctional institution or our penal institutions. We would like to suggest segregation, like what we saw in Wandsworth.
Yes.
Remember, we got a tour of a prison in the UK called Wandsworth, and when the governor took us through the entire facility, it's a complex, basically, but you have an area for elderly, you have an area for pedophiles, you have an area for drug addicts. They actually
separated,
put everybody in their category and kept them together rather than because you actually were in a sort of university when you are mixed with people who have been seasoned men, right?
And this is something that I realized to myself and all, that changed a lot of, I don't want to pity nobody, but change a lot of young men who went in prison for minor offenses. I saw it with my own self. A guy will come in the prison for snatching a phone, right? To we, that is a minor offense than killing someone or robbing someone or pulling a firearm for someone, right? A guy will come in the prison for snatching a phone or for accepting stolen items, right? And when he's placed among these persons who committing all these notorious crime, then the only influence or the only information that you will be getting is, what? Not bad?
How to hurt people.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I mean, that stands to reason. and it doesn't make for a safe environment for everybody. Prison in general is not a safe environment as it is, but this doesn't it doesn't help keep everybody who's there, inmates and officers, safe.
And you see what that population that you end up in could do too as well, turn you against the system, not make you think that they wouldn't tell you, hey, you're wrong for doing that, you know. They will actually make you hate the system even more. And because I remember I learned where I could steal cars and go and sell it. I swear, just like a month before I was released, two guys were talking and one asked the other one his age, and he said, I'm in my 40s, who will not hire me with a conviction? I have 3 convictions. He said, but I know a man in penal who'd buy cars and stolen cars. So right away I thinking, I know a lot of people with high-end cars. So I could, because he said the least you're getting is $10,000 for one. Yep. No, that is grooming. That is, and I wasn't supposed to hear that.
To enter that revolving door again.
Yeah.
Recidivism.
But by that time, thankfully, I had already come to terms with the fact that what happened here was my fault. Nobody put a gun to my head and tell me use drugs. And this is where I ended up. So I was already prepared to leave prison a different person. But it don't happen like that for everyone, right? True. Now, Daniel, the reason you want to change, right? The reason why. Tell us some of the reasons why first, let me just go back to, you see, folks, then another prevention tip that you got here. You see this marketplace?
Very, very different.
We've heard so many horrible stories about this marketplace.
Yep. I still went back and I still get corner, but...
Again?
Well, when I came out and, you know, I settled in now just recently, about a month ago, I saw a gas tank for sale.
You are glutton for punishment.
Yeah, I saw a gas tank for sale and I get con, but after that I delete Facebook. I seen just recently I installed it back.
Wow.
Again, folks.
Yeah, I know.
Prevention is better than cure.
Yeah.
You see this marketplace?
Stay away.
Stay away from it. And if you really want that, I will test you one time. I live Diego Martin, meet me by Forest Police Station. Let's go in I go in and tell the officer, I just want to push it an item here and ask the person to meet me here. If the person decides they're not coming, then you know they're on bogus nonsense. Protect yourselves, people. Forget this marketplace thing. So a gas tank?
Yeah, I got con. The guy told me to meet him in Port of Spain by First Citizens, right? And he was in the car and he sent somebody, and I thought the person he sent was he that I was talking to, because he called and hanging up, and I get the person who he sent the money. And when the fella was walking back, I hear my phone ring. So when I answer the phone, I find it's 2 different people, because I seen the man now walking off now. Not when he take my money and no gas tank. I just say...
Yeah, you look for that.
Lord. I just say, let me forget that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
because he tell me to follow him, you know, to come and get the tank. But the fella walking so fast, like he say, as I get this money,
you're gonna jack you up again.
You couldn't let the man who answer the phone while ironing.
Wow.
Yeah, that's you know the story about the man who was ironing, and when the phone rang, he take the iron and press it on his head.
Oh God.
Thinking of the phone, and he get burned. and then it happened on the next side too, so somebody asked him,
so why?
How that happened on the next side? He said, the man called back.
And he was still ironing.
He said the man called, the damn man called back, right? And he banned himself on the left side too. That's what happened to you. But what's the reason you want to change? And what's the reason you're here telling your story? Because what you're revealing here, and I know, as you said, this is just the tip of the iceberg, right? Why you want to do this, Daniel? I knew why I wanted to do it when I started the Dependency. What's your reason?
Right. Well, Mr. God, that is a very serious question. I'll be real honest with you, Natasha, and the persons on Dependency show right now. And y'all, I want to be frank and honest. The reason why I am doing this is because I have learned, I have understand, I have went through, I have been through the ups, the downs, the turmoil, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Especially when I was in the home, going through my stuff when not knowing my parents, being abandoned, just going through that mentally, going through my abuse physically, sexually, running away from the home, just all in that in one, and end up in prison, YTC first and then prison. The reason why I want to do this, and it is within my heart, is because I have realized as of late last year, that a lot of youths are being misled by the life of crime then, right? They more gravitate. I realize that the youths are more gravitating towards so-called community leaders who are not seeing, who the youths not supposed to be following, I would say, because they are just community leaders for crime, right? They influencing youth for crime. So what I have seen is a lot of youths committing crime. YTC numbers going up. The juvenile facilities numbers going up. And I saying to myself, why I am not hearing nobody talking about this? Everybody doing TikTok, everybody doing Instagram, and nobody not trying to tell the youths, don't do that, don't do this. Or nobody not sharing their experience as to what I have been through, if they have been in prison, how it was, to try and keep the youths away from it then, because the youths going up on Instagram, on Facebook, on TikTok, and seeing other prisoners posting with the weed, with the cigarette, with the phone, and they feeling like when they go in prison, it is going to be a bed of roses, it is going to be macaroni pie and callaloo. So the reason why I choose to do this is because too much of them going astray, and it is within my heart to try and help them, because I know what I've been through, and I will never ever want to see no young person go through what I have been through, not even self my children, if I used to get children in the future. Because I have known the hurt, the pain that have carried me through, and it's only by the grace of God I stayed strong to overcome it and to speak here now. Right? So that's just my main thing. And the TikTok and all, I started to do TikTok just under normal TikTok, and something just tell me, Daniel, start to share your life story, start to share your experience. And from the first video I made with that was it. People just started to encourage me, continue. And from then to now, I say, Daniel, that is it. This is half of your calling. Your next half, you go find it just now. So, that is my reason why I really want to do it, and I really want to change not change in a way, I want to change on the whole because of my past, and I know within myself it are better in me. And no normal person will go through what I go through and be alive. A lot of persons went through what I have went through. God forbid, not God forbid, they commit suicide. They drink poison. They do all kind of crazy stuff to end it all. They couldn't cope with it. And for me to still be here, I feel that I had a calling. So I just really want to do this and really want to help the youths and to keep them away from prison, I should say that.
So what do you think, apart from, you sharing your life story has touched a lot of young people, but what can the rest of us do to help you amplify that message? What are some of the things that we can do to help?
Well, one of the some things I would like persons to continue sharing the videos on I-95. So the more they share, a lot of persons will see it, and for it to reach the right head, that will be a great stepping stone for me. And the reason why I say the right head is because I wanted to reach the Minister of Education, the Minister of National Security, the Minister of Justice, etc., so that they can start to enroll me and Mr. Gato, whatever the case may be, into schools, into youth clubs, into CCC, etc., So that is...
Yeah, if you're just joining us, you're listening to Our Dependency, and we are speaking with Daniel. Daniel is pouring his heart out to you all here this morning to, again, understand that not everyone... Prison was not designed for a population. It was designed for people who run afoul of the law and repeat offenders, people who want to, in a perfect world, even though there are countries who have shut down prisons because they found another way to deal with their offenders.
And they managed to reduce crime because they tackle the actual causes of crime.
Yes, and you could do your research. We're not making this up. There were prisons for sale in Sweden, and because they had nobody to put in them. In the Netherlands, I think too as well, because they don't see. Because other people, there are people who benefit from crime.
Yes,
there are people in this country who wish that 100 people go to prison every month.
Correct.
So that they could continue to supply the prison with what the prison needs, and there are people who crime pays for some people.
Yes, it absolutely does.
Yeah. So when a minister of national security or other or a government is pulling out their hair on how to stop this, how to deal with this, there are people who hoping that it continues. So we have to strike a balance somewhere. And as what Daniel doing here now, with regard to police certificate of good character, now Daniel has to get a presidential pardon. I have a presidential pardon. No, it still don't stop you from getting discriminated against.
No.
Because there are people out here who insist on doing it still, right? But if somebody decides not to hire you or to fire you because somebody told them, that guy was in jail, and you have a presidential pardon, they could still try to fire you, but you have a leg to stand on now legally, right? That's what the pardon does for you. But to get up to the youngsters out there, let them know how this could come back to haunt them.
Well, it has come back to haunt in a real different way, I should say, because you does always study the fast money. You does always study to go and do the crime to get your brands, your shoe, your little money to get your girlfriend, etc., etc. But you're not studying the future. When it is you get locked up for this crime, you have a serious record against your name. And this is not a jokey record, because to get expunged, it does take years, right? So it will be very difficult for you to get a stable job. Very difficult with you to cope on a daily basis, because why you don't have a stable job, God forbid, if you have a girlfriend, if you have children and all, and you don't have a job, crap will smoke your pipe. So if you want to live that particular lifestyle, just don't do crime. It's simple. Stay away.
And let them know that in prison don't have KFC, it has
hard bread.
JFC.
Mr. God.
Yeah,
I get that too. It's serious.
Jail fried chicken, they call it.
No, because a lot of youths, that is what I do. That is why I started to do TikTok, especially now, because a lot of youths, they're watching these videos where men making this little thing in the cell and the poisoning themselves, I should say. Because the frying thing in old iron and all kind of old oil and all kind of crazy stuff. And they do not, these young people out here, do not know what it takes for them fellas to make that meal. Right, and they go post it up, they eating macaroni pie, this and that. Y'all don't know how to make. They don't know how to make. And then they want to go in prison and think that they're going to get that. No, it's not that you're going to get. You're going to get JFC, as Mr. God say. Hard bread, hard chana, and food that your belly will regret eating.
No.
Laugh, but
I don't know. Remember, I just don't know. No, I can't say now how it is, right? How the diet is now, as they call it, right?
I feel it.
But I know, for me, this was when I went to prison, 1990, the end of 1990 there, and it was some of the hardest house bread I've ever seen in my life. And I'm serious. You could actually make a shank with a bread if you treat it right. I'm not joking. And I got one bad cold. Because from Porosville prison, which was extremely hot, I went up to a dormitory, which was open now, extremely cold, and lying on the floor. I got a cold there that could be in the Guinness Book. It was the worst, and every time I've stopped eating in the morning, because from the time it used to just reach by my chest here, and I just go and vomit it back up. It happened to me. I thought that I say
the concrete cold.
But after all I went through, is that cold going to kill me in prison? Because it was that bad. The chunks were big that I was coughing up. And prison worked for me,
Go
ahead.
While they're talking about that, I even got COVID in prison.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, while I was in the infirmary, because remember the infirmary house sick persons. And you see what you said there? The infirmary was cramped and we still had to sleep on the ground.
Yeah, I am really. And speaking of which, ironically, we want to say thank you to the Commissioner of Prisons for inviting us to their sports day yesterday.
Yes.
Well, and this, we've met commissioners come and commissioner go. This commissioner here, just like the one we met last time, Mr. Wilson, and Mr. Ramuta, Mr. Roger,
Mr. Martinez.
Mr. Martinez, Mr. Stewart. Listen, their heart's in the right place. They just need to have the equipment and the facility to work with to make to do better by the citizens that come through those gates so that they leave better people. And I really, really hope this time that they get that without hesitation. I've heard the thoughts of the Minister of Homeland Security and how he feels about certain things about the prison. I hope he would get the support to do what he wants to do.
And the other thing that I wanted to touch on, what you said about your prison record. We know that in the UK, there is a system whereby after a certain period of time, whether it's 3 years or 5 years, depending on the sentence, your record is automatically expunged.
Right, yes.
Right? That is something we should be able to look at, because we already have the process to get a presidential pardon is long and arduous. The Mercy Committee, again, because you have to go through the Mercy Committee for the presidential pardon, right, Garth?
Yeah, well, you have to submit, you go to the National Security and you get I think the Protected Services Division, where you'll get the form to fill out to get a presidential pardon.
Right.
It's a lot. But
And citizens should not have to go through that. If one, you have committed a non-violent offense, you have served your time, there is a period at which the state must acknowledge that this person needs to go on with their life. And the fact that they have a conviction is impeding their ability to do so. So the state has to take a decision that this person is no longer a danger to society. He has done the crime, served the time, and he should be allowed to get on with his life.
He or she.
He or she, yes.
Yeah, Daniel, how you feel about that?
I agree, because that'd be a good thing, because right now it's very difficult for someone like myself who have been incarcerated for a minor offense like that, and to look for a job and etc. is just difficult. So I agree.
Yeah, I agree too that I don't know how you all feel about that out there. You could drop a comment. Thank you for joining us on Facebook and YouTube. YouTube, as usual, you show up for us again this morning. Thank you so much for doing that. Remember to like good morning to you, Rosemary, Janice, my sister Rosemary out in Canada, Janice, Rosemary there in Brooklyn. Thank you very much, as usual, for being loyal and supporting us in what we do. Let's go to a break, and when we return, we delve deeper into this whole police certificate of good character, the presidential pardon. We have a suggestion. We hope it will be taken seriously. That's all we can do. And I have some more acknowledgements for that the prison sports experience yesterday. A lot of things, it was an eye-opener for me, Natasha. I didn't tell you anything when we were having lunch. That was an eye-opener for me, and I said I will share it with Daniel here this morning. And those of you who are listening, about making the right decisions in your life. Let's go to a break. We'll be back.
Slavery, a terrible time in our history. The kidnapping, buying and selling of people for profit, the exploitation of another human being. It still exists today. It has a new name: human trafficking. Anyone can be a victim. There is forced labor, sexual exploitation, and domestic servitude. Human trafficking is a worldwide problem and an emerging concern for us here in Trinidad and Tobago. If you know of or suspect human trafficking activity, call the Counter-Trafficking Hotline at 800-4CTU or 800-4288. Human trafficking is a crime. Identify it, report it, stop it. A message from the Counter-Trafficking Unit of the Ministry of National Security.
Ah boy. Feel like going and buy myself a senorita tonight.
Nah. You know you might be promoting slavery.
Slavery? What you talking about?
Hey, modern day slavery or human trafficking is just what some of these people just do. You know some of these women were tricked to come here. Some are held against their will, abused, and even beaten. Most times the girls don't even see any of the money that is paid for them. And every night, They just have to come out looking nice and sexy for somebody like you. Human trafficking is a serious problem and a serious crime. Persons who solicit commercial sex services may be contributing to human trafficking. A message from the Counter-Trafficking Unit of the Ministry of National Security.
Do you want to support our work at Ion Dependency? Here are 3 ways to do so. You can make a donation to the Ion Dependency account at Republic Bank. You can follow the Ion Dependency page on Facebook. You can subscribe to the Ion Dependency channel on YouTube. Liking, commenting, and sharing the live on a Sunday also helps. Thanks in advance for your support.
Ion Dependency with Garth and Natasha.
Reality radio, at its best, where every life is a biography.
Sundays, at 10 a.m., and exclusively, on I95.5 FM.
And streamed live, on the Ion Dependency Facebook page, and YouTube channel.
Thank you very much for staying with us. A reminder to those of you tuned in on YouTube and Facebook, please drop a like on the live. It does not cost a thing, and it really does help the show the more likes we have. So drop a like if you're on Facebook or YouTube, please.
Good morning, all. I can't understand why Daniel has to get a presidential pardon when all of our institutions failed him. But that's from Wendy Springer on YouTube. Gloria says blessings and to everyone. Hi, Allison. Wendy says Daniel has been through hell and back, should have never been placed in YT2. Why haven't one of our esteemed lawyers taken up his case and to right the wrong he received? Junior said, good morning. Educating the youth about crime and even poverty is not an excuse to do, is very important. Even parents need to be educated. Some parents encourage their children to do crime. Of course, yes, that is true. And I you see, but
Daniel, I just to jump back into the conversation about, I heard you mention CCC. What is the relationship there? Have you know people who have? Or?
No, I have never been to CCC, but the relationship I have with CCC is that when I was in YTC, CCC used to came and tour YTC to see how somewhat of a prison is, because they was not allowed to tour the big prison.
Right.
I don't know if it changed at this point in time, but that is the only connection that I have, because I was
Were you all allowed to interact with them?
Yeah, full interaction.
Okay.
That was a good move, because that is sort of a deterrent, a prevention thing that CCC did. I don't know if they still do it, but I had my opportunity to do lectures with them. That has stopped since. I can't understand why, but they said it's because of funding or something. But you know what you said, Daniel, I have a last-ditch effort. You know, yesterday Natasha and I had an experience coming from prison sports where we stopped to buy a traffic light to buy some wine.
Oh Lord!
And an older man and me called me uncle. And
you get vexed, you know.
Yeah, that. You know why I get upset or
Why?
more heartbroken than anything, to know that when I started this, I wasn't uncle. When I started this journey, I was young like Daniel, because I decided to dedicate my life to help to prevent people from walking the road I walk. And I must say that it is not a blueprint for every government or every minister or every PS. It's not a blueprint. It's who you meet and who understand what you're trying to do. Yeah. And I sort of, I would say 30 years or maybe 20 years of my life have been wasted fighting to keep that steady flow that will keep me employed, at the same time help people. I don't know how it's so hard for most people to understand that this is what you have to do to use people like us. You could read about drugs in a book, but you really don't know how drugs work.
Unless you hear from someone.
Unless you used it yourself.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Right? And then remember last week we were talking about what I'm seeing on the streets today are people who are using drugs and snatching chain and robbing people. Why would somebody will see a pink tricycle in a yard, jump off and take it? Where do you think they're going with that pink tricycle? It's to go and sell it.
Yes. And
To get the money to buy drugs.
The person who was buying it now, that's the other edge of the coin.
So could we suggest that maybe and I don't know, maybe some legal mind who's listening, I know a few of them listen to us, could tell us where should this start, whether it's legal affairs, the Mercy Committee. But what about if, like Daniel went to prison for a petty crime, what we'll consider a petty crime. It was a
victimless crime, yes, it was.
Right. So somebody snatched a chain, somebody...
Non-violent offense.
Right. So what about after 5 years, some notice pops up somewhere that says Daniel was released from prison 5 years ago. It's time to clean his record. You will get a phone call, come in. Now, this depends on what you did for the past 5 years.
Yeah.
No progress, yeah.
Right? Can you show us what you did to turn your life around?
Yes, of course.
And you get some references, you get character references, you get people to, and then, okay, you are hereby pardoned, and now you can get a clean police certificate of good character.
Yep.
What do you feel about that?
Yeah, it sounds good.
Natasha?
Of course. I mean, the amount of people we send to prison, I don't think the public understands that most of the people that are sent to prison are going to return to society. How are we prepared to reintegrate them and allow them to rebuild their lives, allow them to understand that they have made a mistake, they have paid for it, and now they have to do better?
There are a number of people out there who have turned their lives around. They want presidential pardon because, like for instance, and these are two examples I can give to you all, for two young men. One wanted to join the municipal police in Port of Spain, and the other one was to become a pilot with Carl. The one who had to become a pilot, he had a DUI about, about 5 years before he decided to, stop drinking. He got help and all of that.
Right.
And he wanted to be a pilot. The only thing that stopped him was a police certificate of good character that was dirty, because that reminded Carl that he was charged for drunk driving.
Yes, how many years ago?
How many years ago? He couldn't get it because he couldn't get they let him do the training, they let him do everything with the receipt applying for the certificate.
Yeah.
But before granting him that license, they had to see he had a clean record.
Yeah.
He couldn't get it. The young man wanted to join the municipal police. He had a marijuana charge. He passed the exam, everything, just to become a police officer. What happened? A dirty police certificate of good character.
Yep.
So we suggest that, we would like to suggest that someone look into that. And
yeah, maybe the Minister of Justice.
Yeah, maybe, correct, could be the Ministry of Justice. What you would talk to youths now about disrespecting their parents? Because now we see a style where children cursing their parents and some even fighting with them, physically fighting with parents.
That is a heart-wrenching thing for me, because that is where I started off doing my TikToks and stuff, because a lot of youths these days, first they begin, they disrespecting their parents. Name yourself that to start with. To start when they're going to school. Their parents give them a proper pants and shirt to wear. They go in their bedroom and taking this pants like if they're going to cross a river, where you see the socks and the ankle and all kind of thing. The pants tin on the foot like if it's some kind of elastic hook onto the foot, right? And then they're going to school with that, right? You're going to school. They're picking up knife from the parents' place and going. When the parents realize it missing, the parents trying to talk to them and trying to, try and guide them the proper way. And the response from the young men nowadays is, "Mommy, you can't talk to me. I too big for that. I's my own man." What part of you is your own man?
And you're still living by your mother.
And you're still living by your mother. Your mother packing your bag, packing your lunch. She making sure you have money to go to school, making sure you have clean clothes, ironing your clothes, washing your dirty clothes, making sure you properly ready for school. And you all have the audacity to disrespect your mother, cuss them. Names of your mother, your parents on the whole, especially your grandparents. Some of you all living with your grandparents, and it's like you're living with your brethren and sisters, because you're talking to your grandparents how they want, walking out on them, cussing them. Some of you all hitting them, right? What will it take you all to stop do those things? Until you all reach in prison like me? Until you all see some 4 walls in your face whole day? What will it take, right? Some of you all even bullying some in school, right? Your mother giving you money to go to school. She making sure you have lunch money, lunch, everything. And you all going in school and actually taking someone else's thing. A bully will always be bullied. If you feel that you is a bigger bully, it has somebody in prison or in YTC. If you continue with your ways, for you to face. Trust me.
If you're just joining us, you're listening to Dependency, and that's Daniel's voice you're hearing. And he, again, trying to do human service to you, the youth of Trinidad and Tobago, to make the right choices. I know it's difficult. It's difficult. I looked at a scene at that concert last evening that was, I'm sure the police were happy that it was cancelled. Well, the guy didn't show up. But I'm sure the police rejoicing right now. All of them went home and sleep happy last night. But it turns out some people still started pelting bottles. And, I saw a young lady making a real fool of herself on the stage, trying to damage. Well, her parents have a lawsuit coming because she did some good damage, eh? You saw it?
Yeah. And one in them light is not cheaper.
They're not cheap.
One in them light
and
is
she went on a rampage. And it's probably ask herself, if that is natural, that's even scarier. I would hope she was on some sort of substance.
I just really hope she don't have children. Because if that is her behavior, imagine her children.
Yeah. And just as you said, some children, some parents actually encourage their children to commit crime. I saw for Mother's Day a security guard speaking to a mother and daughter. And the way they carried on with it, and all the security guard told them about was their parking, how they park the vehicle. This mother and daughter almost beat the security guard. Mother and daughter, Natasha. And I'm looking at it and I'm saying, but what kind of example is that? So when the grandchildren and the others pick up that same thing, it could only be setting a stage for them to end up in YTRC or MSP or Golden Grove.
True.
Did you use the pail at all?
Mr. God, I'll be real honest with you. Now, for those who want to know what the pail is, what you call the pail in prison, it is your toilet, right? Somewhat of a bucket, like a pigtail bucket. Yeah, that is your toilet where you number 2 and where you do all the numbers, right? Mr. God asking if I use it. How much time I could count on my hand, how much time I use that pail. Other than that, I left the prison with a bowel congestion. Yeah, because it have nothing like where you can use the pail when you want or how you want. Remember, you're in a cell with 15 and 16 other big hardback men, right? One little bucket you have to number 2 in. God forbid if you have to number 2 in that bucket and that start to smell, you will get licks. Those fellas will beat you, or they will tell you tie it up and put it somewhere, or put it in your pocket or your bag or something. You have to get rid of that. So a lot of men that have issues with using toilet in prison, and this is when you have bowel problems, I should say, then you're being constipated, etc. Right? So that was a difficult thing. So if you all like your luxury of being in a toilet on a comfortable seat, youths, please stay out. It is not a nice feeling where you have to number 2 on someone else's number 2, where you have to be smelling number 2 whole day. It is awful. Don't talk about Port of Spain prison when you're in that cell. I saw Port of Spain prison once, and it was like, it was like the cell where the devil was. Because the cells is just like you're smelling faces and piss whole day. And this is what y'all youths giving up your life to go and sit down and inhale whole day. Something is wrong with y'all.
Yeah, and
something is wrong.
And they end up hating on prison officers, and prison officers about
when
job,
they are the
listen.
ones that did their strippiness to go in there. That is wrong.
Yeah. I always say that, prison officers, they didn't send to call you, The state hired them to take care of people like us. If once we want to follow up the law. So you can't hate them really. Of course, some of them sometimes, go a little off. But the fact is, that's their career that they choose. They didn't send to call you. So don't hate on them. Natasha, could we just do the thanks? Let's start with Chrisanne. Daniel, if you could give us a minute, please.
Yeah, no problem.
Tell us about Chrisanne Bidesi.
Yes, people may remember Chrisanne Bidesi, who was part of our Youth Speak Out panel the other day, and also one of the winners. I think she came third? Second in the CTU's spoken word competition. She applied and was accepted to do a global, the Yale Young Global Scholars Program at Yale University. And thanks to many generous persons in Trinidad and Tobago, she has met her goal. She was raising funds to attend this program, and she has accomplished that goal. And I'm just going to share a little bit from a Guardian article, which says, what began as a daunting financial hurdle has transformed into a heartwarming tale of generosity and kindness as Chrisanne and her mother, Susanna Bidesi, through the generous donation of citizens, raised more than the $4,000 US required for accommodation. The Form 5 St. Joseph's Convent San Fernando student won a merit-based scholarship, making her the first Trinidad and Tobago national admitted to the renowned program. Though the scholarship covered accommodation for Chrisanne during the 2-week program, she required additional accommodation for herself as well as for her mother, who would be accompanying her. Sharing the exciting news, she expressed her heartfelt thanks to every person who gave financial, spiritual, and moral support. Recalling her joy when she received her letter of admission from Yale, she said, "My mom and I celebrated that moment with tears in our eyes and hope in our hearts. But behind our smiles, we quietly carried the weight of what remained, a financial gap that at first felt insurmountable." She says, from a member of parliament to NGOs, small businesses, her alma mater, her schools, friends, family, and complete strangers. She said, "You didn't just donate, you spoke life into us, you offered prayers, words of wisdom, messages of encouragement, and connected us to others who could help. You reminded us that generosity has no price tag and that kindness in all its forms is what moved mountains." So
that's a youngster who graced us here on our Dependency.
Yes.
She spoke with you. You all heard her. She's very intelligent. Chrisanne is on her way to Yale University to do this. So we'll give her well done, Chrisanne, and keep up now. From one extreme to the next, we have Andrew Douglas,
yes,
who committed a crime when he was 24 years old. He was released from prison at the age of 60.
Yes. And I'll just share an excerpt from another
24
article.
years to 60 years.
Yeah, 60 years.
Yes, 2 days ago, Friday or Tuesday.
Let me just find the article. Give me one
yes,
second.
so those of you remember Andrew Douglas, he was here for Father's Day. I think he was, he was...
last year on Father's Day?
Yes, he was here.
Maybe, yes, he was. And he's been here before talking about...
Many times, yes.
His experience. He's one of the foundation members of Rise Maximum Radio. He was among the first group of prisoners that was trained by Holly Thomas and so many others.
First project, actually, the first tangible for the Ministry of Justice back then was the prison radio that we installed. Yeah, that was their very first tangible. And we opened to meet the new minister to introduce him to that, because I'm sure it was the best kept secret.
Yep.
Folks, we kept it alive, but for some reason, it's... Let me just not segue, but
no, hold on. I still want to share the out. No, go ahead.
Andrew Douglas was he was one of the graduates of Rise Maximum Radio.
Yes.
Very...
That first cohort.
Yeah. You could see that young man really was not born
He's not no criminal.
Yeah, because he maintained a certain level of decorum at the prison.
Throughout,
And when you see prison officers happy for you leaving prison, you know they saw your heart.
Yeah.
They know his heart.
Yep.
And Andrew stayed on that radio station, never got disciplined once, and stayed there till, you know, he was released from prison. Decent young man, and we'll bring him again for you to, you know, to see how life is treating him normally outside. Now he's a free man once again.
Yes. So speaking with reporters at the Hall of Justice, Port of Spain yesterday, following his release, Douglas did not deny that he had carried out the killing. He issued an apology to Sukdeo's family as well as to other victims of crime on behalf of other inmates who did not have the opportunity to do so. He noted his only son was also murdered while he was in prison. And he says, it would be remiss of me not to say sorry to the victims of society because I am also a victim, so I know how it feels. I also want to speak on behalf of some of the guys in the system because I know there are some of them who are really sorry for what they did. Circumstances, not an excuse, but still I want to stand in the gap and say sorry for those who are really sorry for the crimes they've committed. He said even though he spent the last 35 years in jail, he did not see it as totally time wasted. Instead, Douglas said he saw it as an opportunity to assist other inmates in reforming themselves. His goal is now to continue working with the prison service and the Ministry of National Security to assist with the reformation of other prison inmates. He says, prison is a place where I sought to reform myself. The prison put programs in place and I utilized all the programs to help me develop myself, especially the life skill programs and spiritual ones. Right now, the prisons are overfull, and I still think we can come together to do more to help reform those in prisons, more programs. I would like to help with that reformation to take the prison to a different level. And he said while the various commissioners of prisons were doing all they could to assist in reforming inmates, there was a need for more rehabilitative programs given the various skills and abilities of the inmates.
So, Andrew, wherever you are.
Douglas is a free man.
Wherever you are, Andrew, we hope you're enjoying it and give us a call soon. I know your mom crying tears of joy that you're out of prison. So now, one of the things that we wanted to, let's go to that video. Folks, we have something to show you that we too have been advocating for quite a while. Remember, I always said that there are people committing crimes in this country here, but there are a number of drugs circulating in this country here. We don't know what's driving them. Aren't we curious? Well, recently there was a story of Liverpool, the professional football club. They had their parade. They had won
the Premier League.
The Premier League.
Yes.
And a driver just drove through them. So the crowd until he was stopped. But Natasha, could you set it up, please?
Yes. So this man decided to run through the crowd at the Victory Parade in Liverpool, the city centre in Liverpool. And of course, he was arrested and charged. So the two videos that we will share from the police explaining what happened and what he was charged with. This is the interesting part for us.
Yes. Listen
what
carefully.
He was charged with on the 28th of May, and when he appeared in court, what were the charges that were actually laid.
I want to reassure the public of Merseyside that detectives are making significant progress as we seek to establish the full circumstances that led to this awful incident and bring the person responsible to justice. We have arrested a 53-year-old man from West Derby on suspicion of attempted murder, dangerous driving offences and driving whilst unfit through drugs. He remains in custody where he is being interviewed.
Shortman, could you play that again, please? I don't think we got it from the top. So
I want to reassure the public of Merseyside that detectives are making significant progress as we seek to establish the full circumstances that led to this awful incident and bring the person responsible to justice. We have arrested a 53-year-old man from West Derby on suspicion of attempted murder, dangerous driving offences and driving whilst unfit through drugs. He remains in custody where he is being interviewed.
Right, so dangerous driving, attempted murder and unfit for driving as a result of drugs. Now, what that indicated to us is that he was tested for drugs. For some reason in Trinidad and Tobago, we cannot do that. I don't know why, but we can't. So the next video is explaining again from the police what he was actually charged for when he appeared in court.
The Crown Prosecution Service has today authorised Merseyside Police to charge Paul Doyle, aged 53, from West Derby, Liverpool, with offences of dangerous driving, causing grievous bodily harm with intent, wounding with intent to cause grievous bodily harm, and attempting to cause grievous bodily harm with intent. This is following a complex and ongoing investigation into an incident in Water Street, Liverpool, on Monday the 26th of May 2025. The defendant will appear before Liverpool Magistrates Court on Friday the 30th of May 2025. The investigation is at an early stage. Prosecutors and police are continuing to work at pace to review a huge volume of evidence. This includes multiple pieces of video footage and numerous witness statements. It is important to ensure that every victim gets the justice they deserve. The charges will be kept under review as the investigation progresses. We know that Monday's shocking scenes reverberated around the city of Liverpool and the entire country on what should have been a day of celebration for hundreds of thousands of Liverpool FC supporters.
Right, so you notice the charges have changed. He's now being charged with several offences related to grievous bodily harm, not murder. We no longer hear about the drug-related charge in terms of being unfit to drive. And he's been charged as well with the dangerous driving. But I just thought it was interesting how the police investigation and how the charges have been laid on this individual. And there's another discussion as well about how this case is being reported in the press because of who the individual is, right? But that is outside of our scope right now. What we're looking at is the fact that the police were originally looking at charging him as one of the charges being unfit to drive as a result of drugs.
And I think GHB was one of the drugs that was wrong in the system.
I think that is the grievous bodily harm, GBH. That's what we've been hearing.
Right.
That is the acronym for grievous bodily harm, but they did not mention in any of the videos that I saw.
Yeah, I saw one that mentioned ketamine and
GHB.
Yeah, and ecstasy. Sorry, not ketamine, ecstasy. Because you hallucinate when you use ecstasy.
Right. Okay.
Right. And but Daniel, before we continue and take some calls for you, did you ever while on the streets, or anything, exposed to ecstasy or any of these other hard drugs?
Well, on 1, 2, 3. I was exposed to 3 drugs, and I'll be honest, I started to use one and I stopped after a while. But
which one was that?
Marijuana I started to use. But cocaine, I was exposed to cocaine both ways. I know what powder look like, I know what it smell like. I just didn't use it, right? But I was offered that to use, and also the rock type.
Crack.
Yeah, the crack. Yeah, that. I was offered those 2, and it have something called Molly. Yeah, it's a pill that send you crazy. I took a little, I'll be honest, I took a little piece in it, was just to try it, and Mr. God, it was the worst. I will never take that again.
Yeah.
I started to cold sweat. I started to feel like, it was not high feeling. It was just like a, how to put it, man? It was like a delusional feeling, like you're seeing things that not there, hearing things that not there.
It's a hallucination.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a hallucination.
I thought that was it. I thought that, hey, you have a complete madness now.
Yeah. And some people saying the young lady last even probably took Molly and the way she was behaving, And just imagine people that there are people out there giving that to children, giving that to people to take. So the most we can do is warn you. You don't have to. No, if I go to a party, I could drink water whole night and dance like I go into prison the next day. And you will swear I was drinking because you don't need it really. But for some people, they do to socialize. Can't be upset with them. However, there's a consequence to it, right?
Mr. God, you know Papa Mel, that name ring a bell?
Yeah.
He is on our YouTube live right now.
Oh, really? Romel?
Yes, he is.
Good morning, Romel.
Papa
You
Mel.
know him?
Yeah, I invite him. He asked my father live. No.
So how you know Romel?
Me?
Yeah.
YTC.
He was in YTC, remember?
Yeah, Romel was at
The same
YTC,
time
and
as
Romel
you.
is a good fella. Romel just made a mistake, but Romel, he not supposed to be in person, but he came out and got us.
Yeah, those of you who was, he's one of the first people who made Calypso semi-finals.
Yes.
When,
yes.
you know, while in prison still, he was so...
And of course, a guest on our Dependency.
Yes, he was here too as well. Papa Mel, morning to you. And want to say congratulations to Keith Harris, another supporter of our Dependency. His daughter graduated recently from UWI. Lavantil girl, but the youngster doing well. So congratulations, young lady. She was there yesterday at the sports with him.
Yes.
Keep up the good work. You know, again to the Minister of Homeland Security, he was there. They inspected the parade and they did I think Mr. Karaspi, Mr. Bruce, well, Mr. Fitzroy Fredericks was there, Mr. Wilson, of course. Mr. Abraham, too, was there. Mr. Abraham still looking fit, still looking good. You know, Ms. DeGraff, well, Sanchez and the crew, and, of course, CDS and DCP Simon was there. But look what happened to me yesterday, right? What happened to us? So, of course, we were in a special section with everybody else who invited, specially invited guests. And then they announced time for lunch. So we went upstairs, right? Not knowing that I didn't hear the announcement, and we just started following people going upstairs. But just like everything else, there's a section for heads, you know, like officers' mess, let me just put it that way.
Right.
So while we were taking the food, remember the young lady came to us and she said, you all weren't supposed to come upstairs yet, but as you're here, just eat outside. I say, okay, no problem. I mean, rules are rules. But while they're walking through the room, I walked back out, went wrong the next side. Remember, we passed. Now, you could see from the inside, the outside, but you can't see from the outside to the inside. But we have all the heads there, including the minister, eating inside there. And after I passed there once or twice, I say, God, look at life, eh? If you had done your life right, you'd have been sitting in that room eating with those people. But you can't because, you know, you didn't do it right. You didn't make the right decisions. So I wasn't hating on that situation. I was looking at me and the decisions I made in my life that I still can't be I still have to be on the outside looking in. You know, it was kind of weird. It was a weird feeling, but I understood it, you know. And this for all the people listening, all the youngsters listening, and your parents, make the right decisions, you know, because you live in a society, not everybody will understand restoration. Not everybody will, and Daniel, I just hope you have more time under your belt than I got to help turn lives around. It's not everybody understands it, but it's part of life, and that was a surreal moment for me, honestly. You know.
You didn't feel a hoe.
Huh?
You didn't feel a hoe, because, I mean, I think it kind of touched me in a similar way, not clearly because we haven't had the same life experience, obviously, but I think it touched me a little differently. Because I'm saying, but based on our relationship and the relationship that we have developed with the prison service, I would think we have earned the right to be in that room, but clearly not.
No,
right?
Wrong service privileges, Natasha, remember that?
Clearly not.
Yeah, no.
So it was a kind of reality check for me too, to say, hey, you know, yeah, we have done X, Y, and Z, and we know certain people, but that doesn't carry you. Doesn't really get you into those rooms that you need to be in order to...
The wrong service privileges.
Yeah.
And a pride soldier can't go by the officer's mess.
We ain't rich.
Nah, you can't.
We ain't rich yet.
Listen, a pride soldier can't eat in the officer's mess or even the sergeant's mess. So let me just break it down that way.
That hierarchy
So-
is a nonsense.
No, it's not. No. Let me take some call before you get me in trouble.
If I do.
6223937. Give Daniel some encouragement. Give Daniel some love, and let's hear. Thank you all for joining us on Facebook and YouTube. Remember to subscribe to the channel
And like the live now, all on
Please.
YouTube, please.
Please, yeah, we want to start a fundraiser too for independency, right, folks? We've never done it before. Only 24 years we've been on air, but we see the need to do it now. So next week, please God, we'll be giving you more details about it. We have, for you to donate to our independency and, help us to keep this going because we can do so much more. If we have that we get more on terra firma. So we'll explain it next week in more detail. But let's take some calls. 6223937. Daniel shared 2 Sundays with you.
Mm-hmm.
He decided that he wants to help others, and we hope that his intervention meant something to you, and you've learned something from it. Again, that story we told about the car crash there, a senior legal person, a magistrate, told us that it must be done through legal means where they identify individuals who would be charged with drug testing people, that it can be done legally so that the right person's rights will be observed and, taken into consideration. But we really need to start doing that because we have a longer list of drugs circulating in our country, and there are people who don't care.
And then you have a better understanding of what may have propelled the act in the first place.
Yes.
Don't we want to get to the bottom of why people
Or cause
are
and
committing
effect.
crime?
Cause and effect.
Come on.
There's a thing called cause and effect, and we need to start looking. Hello, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Mr. Garth and Natasha.
Morning.
And all who are indeed responsible for this program. Pleasant good day. I just called to just empathize with your co-host, Ms. Natasha. And I couldn't help but feel, according to Natasha, I feel a little how to know that you all, as prominent as you all are, and, having regard to the quality of work that you all have done, especially with regard to the prison service and restorative justice that you all were left outside, not to sit in with the, I do respect that ranks has privileges, but that was a little bit unfortunate and insensitive, I feel,
No, God. You see, why I bring that up, boy? I was just using it to take you off from a plea before they get me in trouble.
The man is expressing. He's not saying anything wrong, God. Leave him alone.
I am not putting you in it. This is just my personal opinion. I am saying you all have been doing human service to this country and the prison system as well, too. I guess they would have invited you specially. And to tell you take your food and eat outside, I don't think that has anything to do. That has something to do with being insensitive.
We are still grateful for the invitation, though, sir. We are happy that we were invited at least to be there, and we respect the leadership of the prison service.
And at this point, I'm not casting any dark light on the prison service leadership.
Certainly not.
It may have just been someone following protocol to see and not using the initiative or a little bit of. Anyhow, that's that. But I just want to wish this young man all the best. Let him know that we all make mistakes in life, sir. Even the best of us make mistakes. And the important thing is to know where you are, where you want to go, where you don't want to go back. So we'll support you as long as you continue along this journey. And you have Garth and Miss Natasha there who are going to be role models and inspiration for you all. So, Mr. Garth and Natasha, I just want to say thanks and all the best to you all on this program.
All right, thank you so much. Before I take the next call, Tom, let me deal with this, right? Now, and the way you make it so, you were told to eat outside, like they went to the yard with the food. No, it wasn't that.
It wasn't
it
like
was
that.
well prepared. It was a well prepared space.
A nice buffet, but
there like
there
I
wasn't
said,
enough space on the
I
inside.
understood it from the point of view of rank having its privileges, because in that room was the Minister of National Security, the Chief of Defense Staff, the Prison
Homeland
Commissioner,
Security, yes.
Homeland Security, and different former heads of different formations, right? And I understood it because, remember, I came from an institution with officers, mess, sergeants, mess, corporals club, so I understood that. It's just that we didn't hear the announcement and we went upstairs too early. No, the lady wasn't rude, the officer wasn't rude to us or anything, you know. She just came and she said, you know, you all weren't supposed to come up so early, so just stay out here now, because there was a place for other invited guests. Let me just put it that way. On the protocol list, other invited guests were given a nice area prepared for us too as well.
Yes.
I didn't know that. So, but it's later on, I was looking at these people whom I admire. Remember, these people walked the walk in their service, didn't do anything to get them disciplined or discharged dishonorably, and they went up to all the way to Chief of Defense Staff, Commissioner of Prisons, Commissioner of Police, Deputy Commissioner of Police. They earned that.
True.
So that is the pecking order, I should say, in our society. There's a certain rank having its privilege, and that's how I saw it. And I look at me now and say, you know, and it's not like they had different food. We all ate the same food.
Yes, correct.
Right? So it wasn't that. I looked at that from my point of view, and I'm saying, if I had done my career right, I would have been sitting in that room. So I didn't blame them. I blame me. I looked at me. And let me just differentiate this too with mistakes and wrong choices.
You mean in the military, though?
What?
If you had done your career right?
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Okay.
If I had done right in the military and went up the ranks like everybody else, left a colonel, maybe left the, you know, brigadier, I would have been sitting in that.
Would you have been so closely entwined with the prison service, though? Probably not.
Well, that is
So
something
you may not
that
have
we
been
could look
even
at.
invited.
Oh God, Natasha, you're
No,
looking
I'm
too
just
hard.
saying, I'm just saying you wouldn't have that connection that you have now as a result of your experience with the prison service if you had followed that path in the military. That's what I'm saying.
But a mistake and a choice. You see, if you're going to work and there's a color code and you're going to work in blue and the color is red, you make a mistake, you get up late, you hustle and you go. But if you go to work and you see somebody put on a phone and you decide to take it up, and there's a choice. There is no mistake. So let us not confuse the two. We didn't make mistakes. You know, we made a choice. Daniel, on the other hand, Daniel had a different setting.
Yeah, he's a story of survival.
Yes.
He's a survivor.
Good morning.
Good morning. Go ahead,
morning.
sir.
Good morning to you, Mr. Gart and Miss Natasha.
Morning.
Is Daniel in the studio still?
Yeah, morning.
Yes, he is.
Yes, he's here.
Okay, I just want to say a few words to him. I am 61 years of age. And you know, as a young man growing up, you'll try all the different things in life. I have never get caught up with the law. But what I want to say to Mr. Daniel is that the experiences that he had gone through, God have a great plan for his life. And I want to encourage him this morning to throw his life in the hands of the Lord.
Yep.
When you give God your life, you turn a new page. He will direct you in many different ways. And so I want to encourage him this morning. Thank God that he had gone through all this and he's still alive, which means God have a plan for him. So I just want to encourage him this morning. Find a faith-believing church. Accept the Lord Jesus Christ in his life. The Bible tells you in the book of Proverbs 3:6, in all thy ways acknowledge him and he's going to direct your path. So this is my word of encouragement to him. I am amazed of what I have heard between last week and this week. And it's only God could really see us through. It's only God could make us live the type of life that we ought to live. The enemy comes to steal, to kill, and to destroy. But Jesus said he came that we might have life and have it more abundantly. So you all have a great day.
Thanks
yeah,
much,
same to you,
very
sir.
much
Same
for
to you.
calling.
And once again, we really like to thank, you know, that experience we had yesterday at the prison service for inviting us to come and witness is an elaborate thing. I could tell you that, boy. They went all out to please their guests, and Mr. Karaspi.
I'm sure everybody had a
Mr. Bruce, job well done.
Yes.
And you all taught me a lesson yesterday too. And I am passing on that lesson to other youngsters. All right? So be warned. Make the right choices all the time. It's hard sometimes, but friends encouraging you to do wrong, they're not your friends.
But also, if you happen to make the wrong choice and you atone for it, the rest of us need to accept that you have made you have made the wrong choice and allow you to continue with your life. Don't condemn somebody for eternity for a wrong choice that they made.
But and this is where the presidential pardon will help. Mm-hmm. And I want to say I admire these men. I admire what I saw yesterday, and congratulations to all. If you know the beginning and the journey of Daryl Daniel to the Chief of Defense Staff, he didn't have it easy in his career when he just started. Look where he is today, Chief of Defense Staff. So congratulations, gentlemen and ladies, for doing the right thing and setting examples for others in your formations to follow. Good morning.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning to each and everyone there.
Morning.
Daniel, good morning to you, my dear.
Good morning, ma'am.
As a young man, I am listening to you. Since last week, actually, I'm following up on your story. And I want to tell you this morning, as a mother, you continue to raise your head up high. You have a brother there with you in the studio there and a sister also, right? You continue to raise your head up high. You had a lot of stories. And did you say you're still looking to see if you can locate your mom? Am I right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I don't know exactly what part of Trinidad and Tobago you're born. So I think which hospital, they might be able, the registry general is supposed to give you the name of your parent. You know, and if mom, if he's listening out there and you know that Daniel is your son, please look forward for Daniel. You know, look out. Look at you brought him into the world. You look up him. You recognize him. You understand me? Like yesterday, one of my sons celebrated his birthday in heaven. He would have been 32 years. His life was taken. And, I cried. Right through, I just cried. And not one I lost two. And God has given me strength, that and Natasha, to say that they was not involved in absolutely nothing. And they're no longer here with me. Right?
Yes.
So, Daniel, you trust in God. You will be recognized, my dear, right? You just hold on, right?
I will,
and be safe out there. Right, do not take no wrong road. You already get out of that. And you're trying to make yourself, you continue to raise your head up high, okay?
I will.
And you will have a good one.
Thanks much, ma'am.
Thanks.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
622-3937. Good morning. Hello. Good morning. Sorry. Good morning.
622-3937 is the number to call if you want to speak with Daniel, you have a word or two for him, or you want to comment on anything else that we've discussed this morning. How do you feel about a time frame for which people can have their convictions quashed or their criminal record expunged? We think that is a measure that can be implemented to for persons like
Brother
that.
Hammy, morning to you, my brother.
Garth, Natasha, and to
Good
Daniel.
morning.
Daniel, I wanted to say to you, stay focused. You are on the right road. I listened to you last week. I couldn't even finish cook. It was so touching. But Garth, I want to find out something. I don't know if you or Natasha know. What became of the SAGBUZ report? Remember that SAGBUZ report when they had a situation in one of the homes?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I just pull up just Google it, and I saw where in 2022 Dr. Rowley asked the Commissioner of Police to investigate whatever. Nothing. I only like to say nothing. This come out of these investigation. What is this? That SAGBUZ report. When I heard Daniel last week, it reminded me of that SAGBUZ report and what those children went through in those homes.
Yeah.
Lord, just see if you could put a hand over these homes for these children. Have a blessed day.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Good morning. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Daniel.
Morning.
All right. You can live with these words. The world stand aside to let anybody pass if they know where they're going to. You're a born winner. Don't give up. Don't give up at all.
Thanks
Okay,
a
Oli, but wish you all the best.
Thanks a million, brother.
Okay, pass. Bye.
Yeah,
Right.
man.
Yeah, man.
All right. 622-3937. Good morning. Hello. Good morning to Wendy and Arlene, Catherine, all of you YouTube family. Thank you very much for joining us. As usual, you always shout. And Daniel, I'm sure, appreciates the love that he's getting once again here this morning.
And just to refresh your memories, the report that the last caller just mentioned is a report by the independent investigation team appointed by the Cabinet to investigate reports of child abuse at children's homes. It's often associated with the name Justice Judith Jones, who chaired that independent investigation team. The report was submitted in December 2021, laid in Parliament in April 2022, and exposed widespread and systematic abuse within community residences and child support centers.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, good morning.
Morning.
I'm now coming from work, so I don't know what's taking place. But Mr. Gart, this is the guy that say I want to put you on the President Award. I have to see the president because you have been doing a very good job day on and day off. Nobody never took up that challenge that we're doing. Every day I don't look out for you. I now come in and I can turn on my radio to hear you. You hear me?
Thank you.
So I want to make sure that you get that medal. You have to get the Shakonia Medal Award.
Thank you very much, sir.
And listen, Mr. Mika is on the controls?
No, Stormy Tom stayed with us this morning.
All right. Well, you have been doing a very good job. I listened to you. You were a former soldier. I saw you to say that, how the commander dishonor you because, out of miscreants and things. But God has blessed you because God find a different avenue for you to project what you pass through to pass on to other people and things. And you continue good work. And you have a beautiful wife. I'm watching on my tablet. You take good care of her and all her. You live good. You have to get a medal. I'm making sure you have to get a medal. You have to get that.
Right,
so you have a good one. Right?
Thank you very much. Yes.
From South, St. Martin side.
All right,
nice.
Oh boy.
Yes.
Right.
Good.
I hope all you remember, in order to receive an award, somebody has to nominate him, and it can't be me.
And it's not him.
Somebody
Us.
please nominate
Yes.
the man.
If anybody getting award is Dependency because it's both of us. And I could not have done this alone. Natasha started this journey with me and, we continued together. And to this day, 24 years going, so anybody has to get awarded Dependency because Natasha deserves much of this award if it ever is to happen. But when we started this journey, we weren't even thinking about that, I was just thinking that I don't want people to walk, especially servicemen, to walk the road that I have walked because it's not easy getting a dishonorable discharge and have to start your life over. It's not easy. And prison officers, police officers, you have senior officers who you can talk to. As I always say,
Caller, you need to turn off the volume.
Turn off the volume on your radio, caller, please. How some people?
Yes,
caller, you. Yeah.
I'm so far from the radio, like I'm quite on the other side of the house.
You have a very powerful radio.
Well, clearly, because I'm listening to a very powerful frequency.
Yes. But just hold on one second. There are servicemen who go through their entire career and retire gracefully. We have examples of that in the same room I'm talking about yesterday, Natasha. We have people who retired gracefully. Look at Mr. Wilson and Mr. Abraham. Look. So it can be done. It can be done. Mr. Karaspi and Mr. Bruce and all of them. They start off as ordinary prison officers. How they reach the top. Chief of Defense Staff. Understand? Because DCP Simon. Hello, caller. Good morning.
Yes, good morning, Garth. Good morning, Natasha, and good morning to all the listeners. Great job. Great interview. Special good morning to Daniel. Good morning, Daniel.
Good morning, ma'am.
I just want to say I was locked on. Well, I locked on, I should say, last week. I was cooking, and I actually had to come close to the radio, and it really moved me to tears listening to your testimony. And I still hope and pray. I'm a believer that, trust in God's timing. Before you leave this life, I pray and hope someday you can interact with that special person that would have given you life and given you all the strength to do and to go through what you go through. I pray someday that happens. I mean, we just have to have faith, Daniel. Hold on to that faith. I'm not saying, every day, today is not today, it didn't happen. Okay, tomorrow you're looking to see if it happened. No, when you least expect it, God works in mysterious ways. I am a strong believer of those things as well. And I just want to wish you all the best in your future endeavors. You're only 32 from what I got, not so?
27.
Well, right. So I'm a whole decade ahead of you, but I want to keep you in my prayer as much as I can. It's a very easy name, and I always remember Coral speaking in primary school. Daniel was a lion, and all those things that we said. So I'm going to always remember you as being Daniel the lion. That's going to keep being strong out here and not going ever down the wrong path. I know that's not even going to happen anyhow, but still, I'm just going to ask the Holy Spirit to continuously keep covering you every single day, Daniel. And just God's richest blessings to you. And again, great job, Natasha and God, for what you all do. And keep up the good job.
All right. Thank you for that, love. Thank you so much. Hello, good morning. We have Daniel in studio with us here it's 10 minutes to 12. So we could get a few calls in before we wrap up. And Daniel, I hope you're feeling the love here this morning.
Yeah.
And this is what we need to do to encourage ourselves to keep on the right track, because people see your face now, they know who you are, and you have no other choice now but to make the right choices and decisions. Hello, good morning.
Good morning to Natasha and God.
Morning, ma'am.
Also to Daniel and whoever is right. I called to encourage Daniel to follow in the right path, and I know he would get help from God and Natasha. Okay? Just keep on keeping on. I can't say it anymore.
Okay.
Thanks, man.
Thank you. Wow.
She sounded like she wanted to cry.
Yes, she did. Wow. Hello, good morning. 622-3937. Hello, good morning. And remember, those of you who just joined us on YouTube and Facebook, please remember to like and subscribe to the channel.
Yes.
And Natasha will post the account number for you all. Mm-hmm. So, you can start to support our Dependency, because we have a lot of plans ahead, and we are embarking on some fundraising. So, as I said, we've never done it before.
Good morning.
Morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
I just want to say thank you to that young man. It has been so emotional for me. And I know what this is because I had a relative of mine behind bars many years. I was probably 19 at the time. And when we go and look for him in Golden Grove and I see him behind bars and pulling on to the rhythm, I was depressed and it affected me a lot. When he came out, I was most joyful. And my family, we have a big family, I prayed and we prayed. And today, he's something so beautiful now outside in the States there. And he was able to give his testimony. And he was on a block in Belmont, now come from work. And these guys like me with the drugs, and he just come and drop, and how will we go in? And I see the police van pull up. The guy dropped his drugs into his bag, and he went down. And no matter how the police see, the guy said, listen, he wasn't there. He's just a young boy with a little work in some store on Frederick Street, a cloth store. And they didn't hear. He went down. He actually spent three months or so when they went to court and they dismissed him, because the magistrate realized that he was not so, and it affected the whole family. But I thank God for him. This guy touched my heart so much. I was cooking and I just put on this radio and hear this. So I want to give you all God blessing, and to the host and everybody there. God continue to strengthen you all and bless you all for situations like this, that people could grow and come out of these things. and send a message for the young ones out there who think that they are tough and they can do anything and get out of it. But with God, all things are possible. And God has already blessed you with your life, and I thank God for you. I was hustling to get your number, and when I heard it, I just ran to the phone. So thank you, and God bless you all for doing a wonderful work.
Thank you.
Thank you very much,
ma'am.
caller.
Thank you very much.
And Scorpion Pepper on YouTube is asking, what capacity and developmental programs exist for persons coming out of prison to reduce recidivism outside of Vision on Mission? Trick question. That's an excellent question, Scorpion Pepper. Excellent. Because apart from Vision on Mission, there are none.
We have a lot of work to do. We have a good distance to go, and let's see how this new government will tackle that part of it. Because we need a rehab facility run by the state once again. We really need that. One in Trinidad, one in Tobago.
Yes.
Hello, good morning. Hello.
Good morning.
You live on the air, sir, ma'am? Yeah, as I was saying, we need. Let's take another call. We
Caller,
need.
you need to pay attention. Your own, I know, don't even know.
Yeah, we need another rehab facility. Like I said, Piparo was shut down, unfortunately, which was an ideal place for rehabilitation. And the irony of that still remained with me that Piparo Estate was owned by an actual drug lord.
Correct.
And that was turned into a rehab facility. And that still hurts me to this day. And you know, even the first graduate of the drug treatment court, by the way, that we introduced to Trinidad and Tobago,
yes,
and we have that on record, being acknowledged by people in the drug council, that we did our research in the UK, US, and Canada, and realized that they had drug treatment courts, and we brought it back to Trinidad and Tobago. Eventually, it was done. The first graduate of the drug treatment court, Michael Ford, he was a counselor at Piparo.
Yep.
Lord, you know, I always say there are people who talk about rehabilitation and substance abuse, but they really don't know what it is to keep someone or someone to stay clean. Because Ford now could have used that and relapsed, you know.
This is a man who has been living on the street and using drugs for 30 odd years.
And Magistrate Ramsumer Hines say, I ain't sending you back to prison, you know. Go here. And we have to recognize Justice Ramsumer Hines for that move, and Magistrate Diop.
Yes.
And all of the who understand that drug treatment courts work, but we must have everything, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, right down to Z. We cannot do A, B, and leave C out. And
even drug treatment in the prison. And that goes back to what we were saying earlier about segregating prisoners.
Yes. And that's why we have to test them to know if this person committed a crime naturally or if they did it while under a substance.
Correct.
So that way, and you give them the opportunity. Would you like drug treatment? Then once they go through the drug treatment part of the prison, then they complete it. That will save them from having a conviction.
Correct.
We can do it, people.
Connect the dots.
We can do it. Connect the dots. We can do it. And we need more magistrates who believe that people can change and believe in drug treatment courts too, because some of them don't. You know, just once they could fit, open the gate and put them in the jail. We need to change that mindset. Hello, good morning. Hello?
Nobody's on
3 minutes to the top of the hour.
Yep.
And if we have a call now, we have a chance to get in to see with Daniel. Daniel, in the meantime, give us your closing remarks.
Well, my closing remarks, I would like to urge the youths, the young men, especially young women. Women, it have a place for you all, right? So please, just listen to this, right? I want you all to listen to my message. If you all didn't get it here, go back onto the Eye on Dependency Facebook and YouTube page, and you all will see the message. Listen to it and understand it piece by piece, that prison is not a bed of roses. However you make a bed, so you will lie in it. So try and stay out.
Thank you, Daniel. Hello, good morning.
Blessed morning to you, Mr. Gentleman Daniel.
Good morning, sir.
And Natasha.
That's right.
I have been seeing and I will continue to see in these scenarios. I would like for the new year, Kat and Natasha, you all could think it over I would like a program for the victims of crime. I would like, I'm not hearing nobody talking about that. The family who's suffering from a victim.
Yes.
I think Natasha could take that lead for the females, and God could take for the males.
Do you know of anyone who would be willing to do that? We are more than willing to hear
the
stories.
Carry on. I want to hear that.
Okay.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much.
And we have a Facebook page. We have a YouTube. We have a Facebook page. You could message us. We've always said it many times. We will interview people, and we have interviewed people here who are victims of crime.
Yeah.
You probably started listening to Dependency late. It's 24 years we're doing this, you know. So at least, show a little respect for that. But in closing, Natasha, final thoughts, and let's sign off.
Yes. So, what Daniel shared today and last week indeed has been quite shaking for many of us. Too many children are growing up invisible until it's too late.
If we want to stop crime, addiction, and broken lives, we have to start here with the young, with the vulnerable, and with those willing to speak truth like Daniel.
Thank you again for tuning in to Eye on Dependency, whether you listened on I-95 or on Facebook or YouTube. And remember, you can rewatch this episode in its entirety or share it with somebody who needs to see it. We're on Facebook and YouTube. Just search Eye on Dependency.
God willing, we'll be back next Sunday at 10 a.m. Until then, stay informed, stay aware, and stay involved. And Wendy, thank you very much. Pity Sketch Sheldon Aberdeen returned to the streets to drugs. He was doing so good. Saw him at Peaks gas station yesterday.
That's his new hangout.
Yeah, and all right, perfect example. Now, if we have a rehab facility in prison, I will carry Sketch up there and keep him as long, because it's a safe environment, and it will help him to as much as we could, because Sketch is one of the resources of Trinidad and Tobago that we've lost. Beautiful young man, very talented. It's just that demon, he keep waking up that demon. Folks, I have a demon sleeping in me still. Don't feel it's gone, He's still inside of me. I just have to leave him be. Once I wake him up, so anytime you see me anywhere with a beer in my hand or I drinking, and know that I wake up that beast, and Dependency will be no more after that.
Yeah, and I am nowhere to be seen. I'm not in that picture.
Yes. Once I leave that beast alone, and this is where sobriety and recovery and all of these things, you have to take it serious. Once you don't take it serious, and there's a balance. And we'll explain that at some point when we do a program like that. But yeah, that beast still lives in me. And that's why we always use it to recovering addict. Because once I wake up that beast, I have to feed him for the 33 years that he was sleeping. That causes the relapse. That causes me to end up on the street. Will cause me to end up on the street. And I'll be no more. At this age, I'm gone. All right?
All right, Uncle.
So...
thanks very much.
And never mind Natasha with that comment.
You just said at this age.
Yeah, but stop the uncle thing. I ain't in the uncle business at all. Imagine an old man called me uncle yesterday. Look, I can't get over that. Have a good day, folks. Take care.
Good afternoon.
The most influential name in talk radio is